So this is the AIRGO soft starter, and I've got the 8 to 16 full load amp model, which is fine for this heat pump, which calls for a running load amp of 10, and it has a inrush of 60 amps, which is too much if you have a generator. And the reason I picked this one is because of its size. I can put it inside of here and put the cover on, and it's going to look nice and neat when I'm done. Because there are bigger ones that you have to mount externally, and being exposed to elements doesn't always work out so well. So this one comes with the wiring kit and a diagram, and it looks fairly simple. And it should install the same whether you have a heat pump or a standard air conditioner. And if you have a utility load shedding device like I do, which is over there, right beside the disconnect, what you do is pretend that it doesn't even exist, because you don't have to interrupt that circuit in any way. It is part of your contactor coil voltage, which you won't be messing with during this install. This starter comes with a mounting plate that I'm going to put right here. Now I've already got a hole. If you have to drill a hole, make sure there aren't any coils, wires, or anything else behind this panel. So I'm going to reuse this one. That's going to be fine. Alright, make sure you pull that disconnect before you go working in here. There are high voltages. Now all this thing does is snap into that rail. And there it is. Time to play with some wires. When you're messing near one of these capacitors, you might want to discharge the circuit by shorting across the contacts with an insulated tool. So it doesn't shock you. You go between the common and the Herm, common and fan, and then that should be safe. According to instructions, the colors they've got here might not match your unit, and they don't match the one I've got. And they take the red off of this screw, which goes to the compressor run terminal inside the unit. Now this has a ring terminal on it. I need to cut that off so I can put a terminal that'll mount up here. Cut off that ring. Alright. That is the red compressor run wire that needs to go up here on the run winding terminal at the soft starter. Now the black wire over here is be going to the compressor common on the contactor, which is over here. And this red will be taking its place back there where we removed that compressor run terminal. And this one isn't going to work, so I'm going to put a ring on it. So I do recommend, if you're buying this and you don't have a set of terminal and crimpers, it'd be a good idea to have some. I use these all the time working on car stuff, tractor stuff. That would have looked a lot better if I had shortened that wire. If you're OCD, that's something you can do. Alright, let's review the wiring for the AIRGO soft starter. Run winding terminal is the compressor run wire that used to be connected to this point on the contactor. I took the ring terminal off and pulled the wire up to here. Brown wire goes over to capacitor common. Red wire, T2 terminal, goes back to where the run winding was removed from the contactor. Blue wire, start winding terminal, goes over to the Herm terminal of the capacitor. And then the black wire is your common, which goes back to the common terminal on your contactor. And that is all the connections you make. Yeah, a couple of things to note on these soft starters is that they stage your startup so that when your circuit comes on, you don't have an inside blower, an outside fan, and a compressor all starting at one time. And the 3 motors is a huge surge if you have a limited power source like solar batteries, generators. So what this does is the inside fan and the outside fan come on, and they're very light load, so the surge isn't very long. Once they stabilize, the compressor starts on, it comes on, and the inrush on it's going to be lower than having 3 motors hit at once. This is the great advantage of when you're trying to start on generator power. Nice. Supervisor? Hi, kitty kitty. Well, that concludes the install of the AIRGO Soft Start. Now, if you think it looks really complicated, just do it one wire at a time. The instructions are simple and there's only 5 wires. You move 2 wires and you just connect the other 3. So that was a fairly simple install and the results were dramatic. We started with 60 amp inrush, ended up being 65.43% reduction of inrush current and starting at 20.74 amps, which puts that in the capacity of being able to be started by the generator that I have, a Predator 8750, which means that I'll be able to run this in cooling mode for sure and in heating mode sometimes. The issue that I do have to solve is that in heating mode, when this hits a defrost cycle, it'll trigger a 5 kilowatt heat strip to run. So I still got to isolate that circuit sometime, perhaps in a future video. So in normal heat, I can run. In defrost, I can't until I get a larger generator, which someday I'd like to have. Well, I hope that found this video helpful. Like and subscribe, and if you like the items I used, I will put links in the description below, and I will see you all later. Hey, thanks for watching. Hey, come here. Hi.